Hello, this afternoon I'd like to show you how you can use even small odd-shaped areas of your backyard garden to grow food. Now when we upgraded these terraces and made them taller and wider than they were before, we ended up with these odd-shaped little corners as sort of semi-triangles that interface with the garden beds and our area of grass that's in a circle around our clothesline. So this area was very, very compacted because we'd been stomping all over it while we were building this wall. And so it's a very small area, and the tool I used to dig it up was a mattock. It's great for getting into small spaces and are particularly good for breaking up very hard dirt, which this was, because our heavy clay soil compacts massively when you walk on it. Because it was so hard, I used the double dig method. I actually dug the soil up once and moved it across to a different section, and then came back and dug it up again so that I could dig it as deeply as possible. And you can see that what I've got here is just been nicely broken up, but it's still a bit lumpy and it's still a bit hard, so I want to put some things into it to make it nice and lovely loose soil for my plants to grow in. So I'm going to add some sand, a fair bit of sand in here, some compost, some hardwood fines, some chook poo pellets, and also some of our macadamia husks, because they break down slowly in the soil and provide spots for the microorganisms to breed. Coming over here, you can see what happened after I dug up this section. I used the little trowel to turn all the inputs into the soil that I dug up with the mattock. And here is some sage cuttings that I took a few days ago, and once they've got some roots in a couple of weeks, I'll actually be planting one of these sages here in this little triangular corner. It'll be very happy there. I've also planted a cutting that I took of some pizza thyme, which is a really tasty thyme with a slightly larger leaf, great for making pizza, hence the name. So you can see from the soil, when you look at the soil here, that there is a mixture of our clay soil, the compost and the sand and some of the fines. You can even see some of the fines. Over here I planted a cutting of oregano, and I've lightly mulched over the soil. Now the reason I've only lightly mulched is because I want the water to be able to get in easily. What we've found over the years is that if you mulch too heavily, the mulch, especially the sugarcane mulch, forms a mat, and so when it rains the water doesn't penetrate as easily and it will actually run off in some cases. So much better, we found, to use just a light mulch, and that makes a reflective surface. So instead of a dark surface that the sun will heat up and dry out, we have the reflective surface that's been mulched and reflects the heat and light. Now, I'll just walk you around to this other corner over here, and I'll show you a section that we planted up with mint about 6 months ago. I did much the same thing for this, and you can see that the mint has taken and filled this space up really nicely. So this little corner here is a nice little mint garden. These are the plants that I took the cuttings from: the sage, the pizza thyme and the oregano. Now both the pizza thyme and the oregano are creeping across the soil, so I just took some cuttings that had already rooted themselves in and then popped them straight into the new garden bed that I dug. As long as I keep them well watered, they'll be fine. And you can see these ones have actually been in about 12 months, and you can see how far they've spread, and so they'll have no trouble filling up that space. And then they'll provide a permanent place for delicious herbs in an oddly shaped little spot in the garden. Because it's always good to make use in your backyard of every single bit of space that you have available for growing plants.